Is his name on the title at the courthouse, or is it somebody else's name on the title at the courthouse? Is it his wife's or is it his?
He purchased the property.
I'm not saying he didn't purchase
Well,
the
the thing of
property.
it is that we don't know that for sure because they aren't required to present a title of deed.
I don't either. That's, I'm just saying.
So I don't know.
That was my
but,
understanding.
I can call the courthouse tomorrow and find out.
You know, that's kind of one of those things.
Actually,
I
it would
mean,
be at the assessment.
yeah, I mean, it's kind of one of the things that generally
I wasn't gonna say that.
you would look at when you looked at a permit. If the name
If
matches
we are
the same.
required to get those, but we're not.
Yeah.
We could probably request a copy, you know, if we.
Well, I'm just saying, he did
But
fill
what
out.
we're looking at now is getting a committee together and looking at the ordinances and adding to them.
No, this whole thing isn't even filled out. I mean, size of building isn't even on here. I'd like to put a semi-trailer for storage against the fence and a new shop is marked. That's just way too vague to.
See, I was under the impression that this man was a professional contractor. That he was building houses in Billings and all over the place.
I've known professional contractors that don't always do things to code unless something's making sure they do it.
I like you. I like you a lot.
Yes, I know what
When they
people
wanted
do,
it,
Carrie.
how
believe
What
me.
can I say? That was pretty
Saying.
good.
Yeah, I know.
Certainly, one last thing. It shows a shop on that drawing.
There's a little shed back there,
Right.
right by the fence. I
That
think
was
it's like
torn down.
about
Yeah.
2 feet from the fence. There
It's
was
gone.
a storage shed or a well house or something
I
there
think,
at one time.
It's still there.
They got it skidded up behind the house, didn't they?
I think you might also want to inquire as to what that building is being used for. And the reason I'm saying this is.
I didn't know what it was. When I drove by there several months ago, I thought it was a well house, actually. You know, I thought maybe there was a pump or something in there.
But the reason I'm saying that is, and don't get me wrong, because they are good neighbors, but my neighbor put up a 40 by 60 foot pole barn, and then he ran a mechanic shop out of there,
Mhm.
24 hours a day. And do the neighbors on that property want that kind of traffic, that kind of business in there? Because the type of business makes a difference as to whether you want to allow that building to go up. And the owner has to be specific on what he is going to use that for.
Well, he would have to, if he decided to put a business in there of some sort, he would have to come and get a business permit from the town. A business license, but he needs to explain, you know, specify what he's going to do with that business license.
And then you have to be able to hold him to that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I know that's not been done in other areas of town. We have had several old barns or big steel buildings and stuff go up that have never even applied for a permit and had businesses in them and never applied for a business license.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's,
Well, we're getting better at it. We're trying to get
Yes.
better at it, so.
we're trying to, yes, and
Yes.
that's the whole purpose of this, is so we can get, you know, more information as we go. There were a lot of things that I personally did not have, you know, information about, so, that's why I like Tammy on the committee, because she's very articulate and she's thorough. And she researches and she knows what the heck she's talking about when she does say something.
Yes.
Yeah.
On a zoning permit like that, does that have to be held as a public hearing before it can be voted on?
No,
No, a variance
a
hearing,
variance?
a variance
Variance is a
hearing
public-
needs to be held. Like I said, I did never see this application, and just from some of my research, you'd automatically said, it should, actually, when it came back into the office and the questions weren't all filled out at the top, the date's not on there, his name's not signed on there, the age of building or additions, I mean, the age of the house could have been on there, the size of the building's not on there, the type of construction's not on there, automatically should have been, and this is just for further use, this is not acceptable, the zoning committee will not take it. Point blank, period. Not acceptable, the zoning committee will not take it. There's no sense in us even wasting our time. If you can't, this is a very kindergarten style zoning application, and let me tell you what, I've seen some other ones, and believe me, they'd have looked at you and went, if you can't fill out this, forget it. Yeah, yeah, there's too many, and I've never seen it before, but I'm like, no. And you know, and if the man does construction and he does it to scale, let me tell you what, the shop is way bigger than the house, and you kind of have a problem on the, because he's only supposed to take up 45%.
That's what I was gonna say.
There is that in the zoning, in the code, 45%. But
Mhm.
if you drive around town
The
and you
footprint.
measure your property, about 90% of the people in this town use more than 45% of their property for buildings. I do.
You have to.
Well, and I think a lot of it has been, and we have, you know, but I mean, how much more are we looking at? And I don't know.
Right, so that's why we
We'll
need
see,
to
if
actually go.
we're gonna be
and
a
drop and measure.
community that's gonna follow the rules, then we need to. try
You
to
know,
follow
I mean,
the
if you're
rules.
gonna redo the zoning
make
deal,
it
then you
our own
redo the
rule.
zoning deal and they
Yeah.
can use 75%, I don't care. But at the way it stands now, it's 45%.
Right. And that's not an issue right now. The issue is
Yeah,
this.
with I'm having a hard time understanding where he's putting this shop.
Well, he will be available by 11:30. I'll come back. Yeah, we'll go down and look at it.
So you might-
Because I'm not in the zoning committee any longer. And if you want, I can call Elton or have Brenda call Elton and have him meet us over there.
Yep.
At about 11:30.
That works.
Okay, and in the meantime, Brenda, in the morning, if you'll type up a stop construction order for that address.
Should, actually vote on it before we do stop order.
Well, she needs to make some notes, so, just in case. Okay,
You wanna meet Elton, Saturday or tomorrow?
tomorrow, 11:30.
So we need two motions. One motion to
Rescind,
the application zoning permit.
Rescind the approval.
Okay, so-
exactly, not to
Okay, so I'll
rescind
make
the
a motion
permit,
then
but
that we
to
rescind,
the approval.
the approval for the zoning permit for Lloyd McKenzie.
I second it.
We have a motion to rescind the approval of the zoning permit for Lloyd McKenzie. We have a second. Any opposition?
I'll second it.
All opposed? Okay, the motion has been passed that the council has rescinded the application for Lloyd McKenzie. Now, do I have a motion to send a stop work order?
Did you wanna talk to Hope on this first? That's what I'd Hope tell you.
She told me it had already been approved and the only thing that we could do was review it.
So we can't rescind it if we're reviewing it. Right?
She said, let me get my little
That's
paper
what
out
I
here
was gonna
because
say, maybe we should.
Yeah, cause
Go
I'm
look at it.
almost wondering where you've got stuff in
And
the
talk to
ground,
her
but
on
I'm
Monday.
like,
She'll get the
You
money
set
right now.
yourself right.
This is what the law says. And this is the rules of council, and it's a debate. Motion to reconsider any action taken by the council may be made only on the day of such act, that such action was taken, or at the next meeting of the council, which is this one. Such a motion shall be made by a member of the prevailing side and may be seconded by any member. It shall be debated and requires a simple majority.
So you're legal.
So we can
We-
actually
Yeah, we can make a motion to stop,
to rescind and stop
Mhm.
the
to
work
stop
order.
this.
Well, especially since his plan actually is kind of going against him.
yeah, this
Because
is,
he's not following his own
you
contract.
know, this is the deal. I think you're within legal bounds. I'm not absolutely positive, but I would say you were in legal bounds by looking at this deal because it's falsified. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
When
it's
you
not
boil it
true.
down, there's
It's
nothing
not-
to
the-
follow, there's
yeah.
no
Yeah,
numbers.
yeah,
Like,
there's
you could just
nothing.
level the whole place and, I mean, there's nothing there.
Yeah, I'm
I mean, we're
looking at the
arguing
deal
over it.
going, no, you pretty well, you know, had you drawn something that was actually legit and he had the posts in the ground, that would be one thing. But he's drawn something totally wrong.
It's not true.
Yes,
Sorry.
it is
That's
untrue.
building a structure, that's
Yes.
great, you wanna build something
Yeah,
really
and
strong,
if
do it
by
right.
that,
Give us
that's
something.
where we're riding up into the problems.
Mhm. And that's why we need to go and you can, I'll bring my big tape measure and you can,
Okay, you guys don't have one of the, like,
The rolling
track
200,
tape
yeah.
Actually,
measures?
the one right
You want a
behind you
wheel?
might have one.
Do you have a wheel at your house?
I've got a wheel that you can run along the ground.
Or, no, I'm talking,
I've
Yeah,
got a
100
300-foot tape.
oh, you got a 300-foot tape.
There you go.
I'll go to Jim's house tomorrow and borrow the 300-foot tape.
either that or he can just meet us over there and
Well,
we
just-
can use it.
I mean, when it all boils down to it, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know what foot he stands on besides the fact that.
No,
like,
you,
past precedence, but there's nothing there where he can say, well, look, I had my 40 feet.
yeah,
There's
he does
a
not.
Number, there's.
No,
not
there's too much variance there. And
It's
so
basically wrote a blank check.
that, and if you can get we'll probably need the metal detector again to see where those pins are located at.
He should have put flags or painted him.
Mhm.
Pardon?
Said he should have put flags or he should have painted him when he did.
Well, Mike probably would have at the time, but the house was not purchased at the time.
Oh, okay, I see.
He still could have done that, he still could have marked it. But I can get a hold of, maybe either TJ or, well, Mike's on call this weekend, so I can have him run over there and find him
I
again.
would think so.
If you want, if you would.
Oh, that's right, you're on days off,
Over
aren't you?
this.
If we know where if we can just have, is TJ there, that he knows where the metal detectors are?
No,
No?
4/10s, Friday, Saturday, Sunday off.
Okay. And we're
But
just-
Mike said he's on call, and if we need him to do something, to holler at him.
We're just gonna need the pins located, is all
Right.
we're gonna need.
Right.
You can't measure it without having the pins made.
So wouldn't it be the property owner's responsibility to have the pins marked so that he knows
Yeah.
that
That's
he's within
generally-
his own
yes.
property when he starts?
Normally, that's true, but in Fromberg for the last 50 years, no, that
Yeah, but
has
he
not
doesn't know
happened.
that. He just got here, right?
Well, Nate, I'm building on your side.
Sounds good.
Shirley,
Yes,
even with one pin located,
Square off.
as long as it's a rectangle, I could probably locate the other 3 for you.
Yeah.
I mean, just by Pythagorean's theorem, I can do it for you, but
what I can do early in the morning is I can call the assessor's office and have them fax a legal description of that property over to the town hall.
I pretty well know it's 50 by 140.
No, but I mean, when you have
Yeah.
a legal description, you
Yeah.
start at the
And-
northeast corner
Yeah.
and take so many
No.
steps to the next,
Mm-hmm,
and then, you have to.
yeah,
With a 300-foot tape, that'd be pretty easy.
yeah,
You find one pin, like you said.
yeah, like he said,
Mhm.
yeah.
And I think the pins are just on the other side of those row of lilac bushes or trees that's out there to the east or to the south of his house.
Okay, well, let's go for it
So
tomorrow
actually
and
we
figure
do-
it out.
We do not need to have a motion to stop anything, because the motion's already been made to
Rescind it,
rescind this one,
yeah.
Mhm.
so.
And then he just has to fill out a new building permit before he can continue to
Yeah.
go any place. And I'm not trying to be hardcore, but you
No, but I
can't.
can understand where you're coming from. Yeah.
Before you leave and go over there tomorrow, I can give you a new zoning application to give to him, have him fill it out, square footage.
He'll have to do that, and then if he wants to keep the shop stuff, then he'll have to have variances.
He'll
And all
have,
that'll have to be approved by the council.
if the council, after Tammy goes there and Elton, if they go and they make sure that he's within the setbacks and get the proper footage of the square feet of the building that he's going to want to put there. And then they can come back when he fills out a new application and make a recommendation to either pass the permit, approve the permit, or deny it.
How can they make that recommendation though? Like, if he's not following the zoning plan that's in your ordinances, right? And you're putting in a whole new building right next to my property, I would think that that's partly the contract to the town to its citizens, saying, if we're gonna okay this over there, first we want to give you the option to say what you want to say. So if you'd have to apply for the variance so that I could put my 2 bits in, which probably isn't gonna be much, but that would be the proper procedure.
Hey, 2
Because
bids
that's
is
what
2
it
bits.
that's what it says in the ordinances, is that if he doesn't follow the zoning rules.
But what I'm saying is that if
If he is
in the setbacks,
if he's in the setbacks, then
and
he can
and
just
he,
fill it out and
and he
it'd be
does
okay.
a 2-scale actual new application, and gives us an idea of what he actually is going to put there.
But technically, just from walking by tonight, he's taking up more than 45% of his lot with his house and his big ass shop right there.
Mm-hmm.
And so technically, he would have to do a variance because he's not conforming to what is in the zoning. He's a non-conforming property in your own zoning laws.
Mm-hmm.
So technically, then he should have to go through the proper process of the variance.
Technically, I would have had to also, because my buildings take up more than 45% of my
Which
property.
is
not-
fine,
you're not
I'm not
building
saying that
yours.
we
Yeah,
shouldn't
that's
let him do
grandfather.
it. I'm saying if you have it in your zoning,
I think
otherwise,
that
why can't I just go
45%
put up
element
whatever the
needs to
hell
be
I
done.
want in my yard and crap on the rest of the neighbors, I don't care, and make whatever money I want. I'm gonna go stick out there a whole bunch of little trailers with gravel down and what are you gonna do about it? I already did it. Right? That's what I'm saying. So
Yes, I understand.
if I can't do that, then I think there should be proper processes and procedures.
I agree.
And I think surely some of yours were put down before they got into this, weren't they, your buildings on your lot?
Oh yeah, my house was built in 1901.
Yeah, so see, this is a
That's,
little,
that's
This is
grandfathered
this is
in.
a little
Forward.
different deal, is
Right.
what
Is
she's.
this about a trailer or about a shop that's
It's
being
both.
built?
Both.
Both.
Oh, okay. I didn't know about the shop.
The shop is, I believe, and I'm not positive because I only talked to him for like 15 or 20 minutes. I believe it was supposed to be like 40 by 40, the shop.
And if you set
And
back
then-
15, you can't do that.
And then he wanted to put a semi-trailer behind the shop where that,
Right, I know
Old
about the
shed
trailer, and
was
I
at.
thought that's what this was all about, and I think it's a really bad precedence to set in Bromberg to let people move semi-trailers into their property,
well,
but,
that was the biggest concern.
yeah. But, boy, I know if what he tore down, that was grandfathered, it's right on the edge of the
But
alley or
that was an old
whatever.
garage, what was it, maybe 25
That
by
was that structure.
30 maybe, 25?
Well, when you tear it
Yeah, it was, but
down,
once you tear it down, I mean, I
If you
know
lose
other
your
people that won't tear
grandfather,
theirs
it's
down
gone,
because
gone.
then they're
Exactly.
back in
Lose it.
15
Okay.
feet. They don't wanna lose it.
I'm trying to stay on the same page here, that's all.
You are.
Thank you.
It's a,
Yeah.
it's a,
Jeez.
Yeah, and I'm just like looking at it going,
You also have to have the
I don't
front
see
yard.
it.
According to the rules, the
Size.
biggest you could have your shop is 20 foot wide.
20 feet wide.
Your rules,
Or more than 45%.
15 feet from each property line on a 50-foot lot.
no, 15
It's
feet
15
from one,
feet.
6 feet from the other.
Yeah.
That's for a shed. For a
Okay.
building,
Oh,
it's
that's
15
right,
feet
you're
by
right,
15
you are
feet.
absolutely right, Bill, sorry,
And
I am wrong.
45%, by the
Don't get all
time you
worked
take the cutoffs,
You're
off
right,
a 50-foot lot,
you're
you
right.
have less than 45% left to try to put a house
Oh,
on.
Lord.
You have to put in a 20-foot shotgun shack if you buy one lot and wanna build a new house. Now, that's how much sense these zoning rules are making.
Well, I'm not saying.
Now, like Jim says, well, he had 5 lots. Well, not everybody has 5 lots. Everybody on the other side of the street has 1 lot.
Mhm.
There's a lot of area in town that have 25-foot lots.
That's Main Street all the way through.
And on the
30
only
foot.
property out here, there's a lot of
The
them.
old
Yep.
commercial
There's a
district.
lot of them.
There's a 30-foot lot. Now, you tell me on a 30-foot lot, how do you put a house up, moving in 15 by 15?
Yeah.
You don't, you do what I did, you resurvey it into 50-foot lots, and then you're in
Well,
business.
no, if you have
And
one
that's what you
lot,
have to do.
somebody sells you 1 lot, what do?
Well,
Think you
you
have
should
it
be
made?
smart enough not to buy one lot at 25
Yeah.
foot.
Well,
Go talk to Ed Warner.
Tiny home.
I mean, my God.
We're not
Now
the
that-
only town
We're
that goes
opening up
through
a bag
this
of
though.
worms.
I know.
So it's,
Well, I got one more thing, as long as we're on zoning, and that's the
Okay, Randy,
subject
go
today.
ahead.
I've talked to people for a number of years here, where I live in Alaska, it is zoned unrestricted residential. And over the years, they've built big, huge commercial buildings all around my house. So I got this nice house, but I've got big, huge commercial buildings all around me. And if, what was I gonna say, the, Wells Fargo years ago, they were gonna give me a bunch of money, home equity loan on my place, and they went to Red Lodge and found out it was zoned commercial. And that made the paperwork stack up and made it really impossible. So I would like the zoning committee or people to consider the fact to restate the zoning laws.
Redistrict the zoning areas, or just review the zoning, code and reword part of it?
Reword it was basically
Right,
all
and
I was
that's
asking. I
what we
talked
would
to,
like to do is
what
do
the heck
some additions and rewording in the zoning.
Yeah, because
To make it fit, so that, because right now, if you look at it, overall, it's basically good, but we need to do some, actually, we need to make some specifics in there.
yeah, well, it's kind of,
Do
that's
some
what's gone on over
Specific
the-
wording in there.
Yeah, over
so
the
this
years, I
doesn't
mean,
happen again.
Marge lives, Ilsa lives at her place, I live at my place, I stay at the bar a lot. It's already unrestricted residential, but I've got a bar and I live in it. And I've got a house and I
A
live
lot
in
of
it.
business owners in town on Main Street live in their
Well,
businesses.
the whole idea was that the people could probably generate a lot more revenue to fix their places up and do stuff with them.
Right,
If it
right.
wasn't tied up in the commercial thing, because the
Yeah.
commercial, that's a whole different high-end interest can of worms.
Yeah.
No big deal, just something I thought I'd throw out there to
Okay,
consider,
so
'cause
now let's get back to the issue at hand, and, we had a motion to rescind the approval. It was seconded
it was seconded and passed.
and passed. Is there
So-
any more discussion?
No.
I would say it'd probably be smart to contact the attorney though in the morning to
I
make sure
will.
that everything, I mean, you go overstepping boundaries and you just pick a fight with Ali if it's wrong, so.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, you just better come prepared.
Nobody picked a fight with me. My name's Ali. Yes.
Well, yeah, big enough guy, you don't wanna do that.
call him early because his crews are at 8 o'clock.
Okay.
The crews work down the shop early in the morning.
I will call him, I have my alarm set already early because I have a conference call tomorrow, so I'll call him first and then I'll call Hope. And make sure that we did the right thing. I'm new at this, guys, so, you know,
Well,
give me
and
a
all we
break.
can say then is if we didn't, you rescinded the one on the trailer, and
For lack of
we're gonna have
information.
to, it's gonna have to be a learning experience that's, I don't know what you say, but like I said, he did not fill out the application, and it's misrepresentation on the fact of his,
As a
has
person
his,
on the zoning committee, who could possibly, if you have time, bring an idea of what you think should be on the zoning permit, and we'll bring it to the council and see if they'll pass a new.
It'll be there Monday.
Okay.
It's a work in progress.
Good, okay, good. I knew she'd be on top of that.
But, yeah, no, I'm just, anything that I've researched and read, that's one of their things. If you don't have your application, if your application is not correct, and it's printed on there, and if you falsify anything on your application, it's an automatic pull. You don't even have to have a meeting. So, that is one of the things that I do have worded on that one that I'm working on. Should be an automatic pull if you misrepresent anything, you know.
Hey, I will call Lloyd first thing tomorrow morning before his workers get there, and tell him that he has to stop completely until we review this whole thing and get it straightened out, and then I'll come pick you up about 20 after 11 or so.
Okay.
Better call Hope at 6.
And I'll call Hope as soon as I can after I call Lloyd, but I wanna call him before the crew gets there to start working on his place, so.
Okay.
Okay, if there's no more discussion, do I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I'll make it.
No, second.
Motion to adjourn made and passed, or seconded, is there?
Good job.
Everybody in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Let me know if you need that.
Okay, I will.
Meeting's adjourned.
I remember when I first was coming to these meetings, I kept making all these motions, and they finally said, Randy,
Okay.
you can't make motions.
That's all right, like I said, you know, I'm in my second month of sitting in this chair. I've never been a mayor before, so, you know.
Thank you, Jeff.
At least it's a learning, and I'm learning more and more all the time too.
Bye.
Should be able just to connect.
Later, guys.
Okay. I'm gonna leave this is your property here. And I am headed back to work.
Tammy, you can have that. That's an extra copy. That
Oh,
round.
there's still one.
I really feel bad holding on to it, cause it's somebody's personal stuff, and I was not on the zoning when it was, I don't wanna be responsible for it. Does that make sense?
You want mine?
Yeah, one was,
No, I don't want
yeah, the next
it.
one's about.
He'll gift it to you.
I'll gift it.
Well, I guess I do need to keep it just for tomorrow.
Oh,
Just
that's-
for, yeah, for.
Just for tomorrow, for the
Questions,
deal?
yeah.
Okay,
Cause I think I got a copy of it at home too.
okay, yeah.
Oh, exactly.
Okay, thanks for coming.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Let me turn it back on.
Yes, please.
Okay. Just push stop when you get through. Okay. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Okay, we will call to order the workshop for the employees' hours. A few weeks ago, the council was asked to come up with a work schedule and what they thought would work, and I was hoping that we would be able to look at all of them this evening and kind of mesh ideas together as to where we want to be with work hours for the employees.
This is days off.
Jim had already made
Days off.
some suggestions,
Varies 3, 2, 4.
2 or 3 times over the last couple of years.
3 days off.
They
double.
weren't
Monday
kinda
through
went
Friday for.
bye-bye. So,
If there's work to be done on Friday or Saturday that's required, whoever's working Friday can work part-time and then full time.
Do you want these now or start on these?
There's still 10 hour days.
yeah,
but
I'll
they're
let
all
each one of
weekends.
you kind of explain
go ahead.
what you're looking at, and Bill, if you'll explain yours a little bit, and I'm just gonna sit back and let the
This
council
is
listen
just
to
a
this.
varying 4-day week. One works Monday through Thursday, Tuesday through Friday. Changes every 2 weeks. Gives them varying days off from 2 to 4 days. If there is there a required work to be done every weekend? And what's that?
It's called overtime.
For what? For what?
Well, usually now they've had, night before last, they were next door at my house, or at the neighbor's
No,
house.
if
because of
they're
the-
required to call out, is there something that they have to be there for every Saturday or Sunday?
Like
a particular
Okay.
meter.
They have to get
No,
water
no.
samples every day.
They have to take water
7 days a
samples,
week.
yes, from the lagoons. Somebody
Okay,
has,
so
and usually they have to have
The
two
person that
people.
has to do that on a Saturday could work a little less time Friday, take the sample Saturday. Whoever had the Monday day would take it Sunday, work a
Okay,
little
let me
less.
interrupt you just for a second. As far as the water sampling is concerned, OSHA says they have to have two people to do that.
well, then you can't vary it, can you?
Because they have to go out on the lagoons and get their samples. And OSHA says in that situation, or if they're digging a hole somewhere, or if they're down in the pit, two people always have
So
to
you
be.
have to have two people every
It's a
weekend,
safety issue.
so you can't do anything under hours.
Not to get water samples, I don't think. You have to have 2 to 3 people when you dig a hole.
Right.
That's OSHA, that's
Mhm.
government
Oh,
safety
yes, I
rules.
know, yeah.
But to
But
get,
that's a call out, so
no,
you
no,
would
that,
have to call them anyway.
No, they
No.
No,
probably
because-
schedule that, but.
that's,
Randy,
I worked on the oil fields a long time. Nobody goes out alone. Nobody. Ever. Ever. There's two people wherever they go.
well, right now, what we're looking at
And
is
I
saving,
understand that.
saving on overtime and things like that. And, right now, the Public Works Department, does, 4 10-hour days, and they have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off, and they rotate the on-call weekends.
But they all both have to be there every Saturday.
No,
Every
No.
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Well,
Who
who
goes
takes
with
the
them?
water samples then during, they
So
take
they
them
work
during
7
the
days
week?
a week?
mine took water samples today, and I think we're only down to once a week, aren't we, Jim?
yeah,
Water
every day,
samples.
once a day.
You just said they had to
Saturday morning,
monitor it
Sunday
7 days a
Okay, so
week.
they have to, yeah, and then they took them in today to Billings, the water samples, to Energy Labs, okay.
Yeah.
But you said they had to monitor it 7 days a week, so somebody has to be there Saturday and Sunday.
And
Yeah, for
now I
the,
was,
That's
They
part
well, a
of
couple
7
of years
days.
when we talked about this, Rich said they had to go out on a little dinghy or something.
not
in the
not that
lagoon
I
to
know
do
of,
that?
not that I know of, but,
Okay,
uh,
so we can eliminate two people on the water samples then.
Okay.
So you don't, okay, I'm lost, so like, they're not working 7 days a week then?
No,
No.
no, they work 4 days, Monday.
Right, no, I get the schedule they're currently on, but so like on Friday, they have to meet up for an hour to go take a sample?
One of them
Saturday?
does.
one of them
Oh,
does.
just one,
One comes in Saturday morning, goes down, gets the water sample, takes care of that, goes home.
gotcha.
Okay, so they don't need 2 people to get water
No,
samples?
each one of them gets 3 hours overtime on the weekend.
Mhm.
They get an hour and a half for Saturday, an hour and a half for Sunday.
It takes that long to do a water sample?
It does,
Wow. Must be a big one.
and,
Well, the schedule that I was looking at would be to get rid of your 10-hour days and go to 5 8 hours.